please put your hands together for Njambi McGrath, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah!
Wow, hello. Oh my God, I am so excited. Everybody came. I'm so pleased. It's so nice to just see familiar faces. And just to tell you a little bit about my show, there's been a lot of rhetoric on the media about immigration, right? Yes, and basically I've been thinking a lot about what they say on the media and all of this stuff. And I thought, why not put it on paper and call it a show? And it's called Breaking Black, ladies and gentlemen. So this is going to be race issues, race relations. Are you okay with that? Yeah. Good, it's all I've got. So basically, I found out the value of an immigrant the other day. And it was quite horrible. It really was, because I suppose this is what Brexit has given us. It means that people can type any old shit that comes to mind. A white aristocratic man put on his Facebook page that he would pay £5,000 to anyone that would run over Gina Miller and kill her. Did you guys see that? Did you hear that? That he would pay £5,000 to anyone that would run over Gina Miller and kill her. And I went to bed and I thought, oh my God, this is so horrible. £5,000 is way more than I was expecting for an immigrant. That's the level. That is absolutely the level. Because I'm an immigrant, I'm from Africa. Oh, thank you. We get a clap. Usually we get told, fuck off, but I'll take it. I'll take it. So I have lived in Ealing for a very long time, and Ealing is very white. Ealing is very predominantly white. I'm actually the only black African in the village. That's right. Ealing is so white, they call me the missionary. Mainly because I walk around with a Bible telling white people about Jesus. Because I understand irony. And the thing is that, like, the area that I live in is very quintessentially British. And they do all these quaint little British things. Like, they do something called the May Day Parade. Has everybody heard of the May Day Parade? Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, the thing is, I had never heard of the May Day Parade. Someone said to me, it's a pagan festival. I was like, oh, like Africa used to be before white people civilized us. And the thing is, they had all these tiny little girls. They were all dressed in pristine white dresses. Someone said they're virgins. I was like, I should hope so. And the task for these tiny little girls is that they had to go dance around the maypole. And I thought, of course, the one thing you want to teach your little virgins is pole dancing. Who knew? Who knew? But I suspect that people in my area don't actually know what to make of me. Because I guess a black woman is always portrayed in a single context. Long-suffering, staunch Christian, single mother. Also my profile on a dating website. And I realized that nobody is more stereotyped than the black African woman. Because the black African woman is always portrayed as always dying of Ebola, dying of AIDS, being chased by militia. We have other hobbies, you know. It's not all fun and games. Actually, when we are not dying, we go to the hairdressers. It takes so long, might as well be dead. Well, the thing is, like, the black African woman is always portrayed as one that needs to be saved from barbaric cultural practices, or what you guys like to call values. And there is one such thing that a lot of my white friends, I see them on their timelines, they've been tweeting, they've been, writing on Facebook, and this is FGM. You guys are familiar with FGM? If you're not familiar with FGM, it's female genital mutilation. That's what it is. And a lot of white people have come on board with this. They're all like writing on their Facebook page and all their Twitter and everything. Stop FGM, stop FGM, stop FGM. I asked them, what do you know about FGM? Nothing, but stop FGM. So I happen to know a little bit about FGM because I'm from Kenya and I'm from a tribe that did FGM. And I realized that now I say this, you're going to spend the whole evening wondering what is the status of my clitoris. Don't Don't you worry, it's intact. I have never ever had to clear the status of my clitoris before without being on a date. But it is what it is, it is what it is. But the reason that they did it was this. They say that the clitoris is a deformity. And if left on a girl, it grows and grows and grows and grows. It rubs all over her clothes. She becomes sexually excited. She can't help herself but to want to have sex all the time. I'm like, you're mistaking us for men. And the idea is to take off the labia minora or labia majora, not to be mistaken for holiday destinations. You'd want your money back, wouldn't you? When you stayed, you'd take my breath away. You would, my love, you would want your money back. Yeah. But you know what? The campaign has been very, very successful because they argue it's unhelpful to the girl. It is going to harm her when it comes to have a baby. It's unnecessary. It's patriarchy. It's against her human rights. Who would argue against that? No one. So the campaign has been very successful. FGM has been outlawed in Kenya, in Nigeria, indeed the most of Africa. Yay! Woo! Now all these African women walking around with massive clitoris, thanks white women. I was completely okay with that, and who wouldn't be okay with that? And then I began to do research for my book, and then I realized that the fastest growing cosmetic surgery amongst young white women in Britain today is, you guessed it, FGM. But they don't call it FGM. Oh no. Because when white people do one thing, it's called one thing, and black people do that exact same thing, it's called something else. Like poaching, hunting, terrorist, lone wolf, pedophile, priest. It's all in the terminology, people. They don't call it female genital mutilation. They call it labiaplasty. Seriously, labiaplasty? It sounds so sellable, doesn't it? It sounds so sellable. You can imagine just taking your other half to the hairdressers or to the spa, and they come to you and they say, hi guys, here we do pedicure, manicure, and labiaplasty. You would get it for her, wouldn't you? You really would, you would, and you wouldn't even bat an eyelid. Yeah? You can imagine, labiaplasty sounds a little bit like something that you get from Greg's. Right? You can just imagine like builders, right? Builders going to Greg's. Hi, can I have a sausage roll, a ham roll? And what do you want, my love? Labiaplasty, and a labiaplasty for the missus. It's incredible. It is so sellable because it's all in the terminology. And I found out about this, I was very, very disappointed because I've only just become a feminist. That's right. I didn't even know that a feminist is something you became. I didn't know. I just assumed that everybody was naturally for equality. No, you have to come out and declare, I'm a feminist, so I'm out and proud. I'm a feminist. But someone say to me, well, Njambi, no, you can't be a true feminist because a true feminist doesn't shave her armpit hair. I said, in that case, I have been a feminist all my life. That's right. It's crazy. But you know what, guys? The portrayal of Africans in such a negative, horrible way is not only damaging to the continent of Africa, but also to Africans in general. Because I realized that people will never, ever respect Africans because of this negative portrayal time and time again. For example, there's a lady that I know. She and I both live in same-size houses. She and I drive similar type cars. She and I have professional jobs. She and I are married to men with professional jobs. And she still found the need to turn up at my house with a bag of her unwanted clothes. And I thought, Jesus, what do I have to do to gain any respect? And you know what? I was upset. I said nothing. Didn't invite her around my house again. 6 months down the line, I see her. She said, hey, Njambi, why don't you ever ask me around your house again? And I said, well, since we're stereotyping, I feared that you, being English, are going to turn up at my house, plant a flag, and never leave. Because that's what stereotyping does, right? That's how it works. People will never give us respect at all if you're African. Like, I was at a party, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said when I was back home, I used to walk 2 miles every day. And she says, to the river? I was like, no, to keep fit. What kind of question is that? The river was 5 miles away. It is incredible. People will never give us respect. But you know what, guys? No matter how much I try to get on with my white friends, I find it really difficult because, like, white people, like, have, like, strange ideas. Like, a few friends of mine got together and said, Njambi, come, let's go on a camping holiday. I was like, no, thank you. Let me see, being in flimsy accommodation, sleeping on cold hard floors and going to the bushes every time you need a wee. That's what we call visiting grandma. She lives in Croydon. It's crazy. Isn't? And I understand it. I completely understand it, that the status of an African in Britain is the lowest, followed by the Asian, followed by the whites, or what we like to call the gold medals bold. Because it's time to celebrate the African, right? Yeah. Well, because, like, when you think about it, Africa produces some fine athletes, wouldn't you agree? Or what you guys like to call Chelsea Football Club. And we got some excellent role models. Didier Drogba is my all-time favorite. And not because of his sporting accolade, but because he single-handedly brought peace to his country of Côte d'Ivoire. I don't know if you guys heard about this. There was a civil war, a really bad civil war in Côte d'Ivoire. He got all the warring factions, sat them round the table, and he said, guys, stopping. They went, okay. That is how you stop a civil war. He was basically like the United Nations, but more useful to Africa. Absolutely. It's crazy. But I live in London, and I think London is awesome. Don't you think? Oh, London is just so awesome because it's very cosmopolitan. You can't turn a corner without seeing a Somali taxi driver, Indian takeaway, Turkish kebab, or what you guys like to call authentically British high street. And the thing is, like, it feels very weird being a scapegoat. I mean, immigrant. Because we're told that immigrants are to blame for everything, right? We are told that immigrants are to blame for lack of housing, lack of jobs, lack of school places, lack of GP appointments, the economic downturn. Even my neighbor blamed it on the death of her cat. I kicked it. No, I didn't kick it. I didn't. I know what you British people are like with your animals. I didn't kick it. Let me say this. Her cat is alive and well for now. It's crazy. But you know what, like, and I completely understand it. It is the first time that white British people are seeing faces they've never seen before. They're hearing voices they've never heard before. And the leaders are taking advantage. They're winding people up. People are saying, oh my God, all these immigrants are here to change the British way of life. I'm like, guys, immigrants only make up 5% of 65 million population. How can 5% of people come and change your way of life? Who do they think we are, colonialists? People are getting so wound up. You know, they're saying, oh my God, all these immigrants coming here to change the British way of life. I'm like, it's not our priority. I can't imagine a guy coming all the way from Gabon, walking across the Sahara Desert, crossing perilous seas, camping in Calais, jumping a lorry to get here and say, right, you lot, no more fish with your chips. He'll be ringing his pregnant wife in Gabon, mushy peas is next. We don't care if you mash your peas. It is strange. But mash your peas if you want to. But I think what people here don't appreciate is that could it be that people come to Britain because they like the British way of life? Right? Could it be that people like me love getting into a bus without having to headbutt anyone? Right? And what you guys don't appreciate is that when the immigrants get here, they're actually more patriotic than the white British people. I don't know if you guys know this, but most immigrants voted leave because they didn't want other immigrants coming here to ruin the British way of life. That is how much we understand irony, right? And people have been saying things like, oh, build a wall in Calais. Don't. Just employ immigrants. They will never let other immigrants in. They won't. Seriously, like Brexit has brought out the ugly side of people. You can see people are getting wound up. They're saying things like, oh, we want Britain to go back to what it used to be before. And I'm like, how far back do you want to go? Like BC? Before curry? Oh, the Indians were going, oh, not before curry. They should have been the question. It should have been the Brexit question. Do you want Britain to be the way it used to be before or after curry? Nice and easy. Nice and easy. People are getting wound up, and you know what? Like, I blame the tabloid press. Like the Daily Mail, I'm sorry if you read Daily Mail, like the Daily Mail, the news and everything is like you're shaking your head, not me, I don't know. And the tabloid press is very good at winding people up. And they're showing all these images of all these migrants coming in boats. And people are freaking out, genuinely people are freaking out. People are like, oh my God, all these immigrants coming from Africa, all these immigrants coming from Africa. I'm like, guys, relax. British people, 200 years ago, you came to Africa, you took so many of us against our will. You even paid for the shipping. Now we're coming willingly. And we pay for our shipping. What is not to like, British people? Relax, enjoy it. People are getting very wound up. You can just hear it. They're saying, oh no, Britain has an open door policy. Not when it comes to Africa. Why do you think we come on the boats? Nostalgia? Seriously, there's only 2 types of visas that are available to people from Africa. One of them is called fuck off to India. The other one is called the ancestry visa. And basically what that means that you have to have white blood in you. And that is the one that I applied for because I figured that I have white blood cells in me. And that's me. People are getting wound up. You can just feel it. They're getting wound up. And people saying things like, oh, when you get here, do as the British do. Do as the British do. Do as the British do. I was like, okay. So I pulled a sickie. I'm not gonna lie, it felt good. But I wasn't banking on my boss asking me what was wrong with me because I didn't know British diseases. Because what are British diseases? Because British people, you've got posh diseases, right? You've got diseases like hay fever. We've got Ebola. So I'm on the phone to my boss and he's asking, what's wrong, Njambi, what's wrong? And I'm like, oh my God, this is a trick question. Because the only diseases that were coming to my mind were all tropical diseases. I'm thinking, oh my God, no, I can't say dengue fever. I can't say malaria. HIV is gonna freak him out. And I thought long and hard, and I said hangover. And he said, nice one, mate. That is how British I have become. I now say British things like, I beg your pardon, before I push a lady off her seat. It's crazy. People are getting really wound up and you can feel it. They say things like, oh no, but immigrants don't integrate. I say, guys, relax. My husband is English. I integrate every night. And sometimes I include him. Am I supposed to prove that I integrate when I'm going about my business? Do you know, am I supposed to carry like a picture of a giant erect pink penis saying social cohesion? If I did, my husband would be asking, whose is it? Like, don't worry, it's just my clitoris. It's intact. It's crazy though, it's crazy. But you know what? I never understood this integration thing because integration is a two-way street, right? It's like sex. Both parties must be willing. Right? You should all say yes, consent must be sought. Both parties must be willing, because even white people must want to be integrated with. Right? It's a very, very well documented fact that when black people move into a white neighborhood, white people leave. And they don't even call it migration, they call it white flight. Which means white people got up one morning, they looked outside and they saw black people. They were like, darling, the black people are here. Get the baby, come on, let's go. Oh, fuck the baby. Let's go. And black people are like, no, guys, wait. We're not here for revenge. Black people move in, the area gets neglected. Crime goes up, mothers begin to lose their sons. And before you know it, the mothers are in mourning. And then a new genre of music. Because that's how black people make music, right? When times are so hard, they make music. And before long, black people are having a good time, They're starting to enjoy themselves, they've got carnivals. And this is when you see them white men with beards. The white men with beards. Right? Them white men with beards. The ones that I'm talking about? The ones that are more likely to open a cereal cafe. Yeah. They're more likely to be vegan. The moment black people see them white men with beards, they're like, oh my God, darling, the white men are here. Get the baby. Come on, fuck the baby, let's go. That's integration for you. It's black move, white move, black move, white move. It's a game of chess. That's all it is. A game of chess. So I decided to integrate the other day. Yes, big news. I invited some very posh English people around my house for dinner. And when they said yes, I panicked. I was like, oh my God, there's only so much I can do with a potato. And I didn't even know what to cook, so I went straight to Google. What do white middle-class people eat? Google said, I don't know, try Waitrose. So I'm in Waitrose and I'm going, the smell of money. And I'm in Waitrose and there's a very posh woman in there. And she leans over to a 2-year-old and goes, darling, what would you like for supper? So I stopped to listen. Because giving a child options is a whole new thing to me. My mother gave me options like, do you want food? And then she would give it to me and shout, don't eat everything. Think of all the obese children in America. Works both ways. So I'm in Waitrose and I go to the wine section because I know nothing about wine, and I talk to the guy and I say, hey, can you help me? I've got really posh people coming around my house and I want to impress these people. What do I serve? Because I know nothing about wine. And he says, go French. It's like, really, that forward? And he says, no, the wine, Njambi, the wine, focus. It's like, all right. He says, get 2 bottles of Chateauneuf de Pau. 12 pounds a bottle. I said, fuck that. It's post-Brexit. They'll appreciate English wine. And 2 days before the dinner, I had spent the whole week cleaning my place. I was domestos goddess. 2 days before the dinner, I see the woman. And I ask her, hey, are you still okay for Saturday? You still coming on Saturday? And she goes, And I say, oh my God, you're still coming, right? I cleaned. And she goes, well, my husband is not so sure. And I say, why not? She says, well, my husband thinks you're going to cook us goat's eyes. So I cooked them goat's eyes. From Waitrose. No kidding. Seriously. But you know what? I was upset. I really was upset. And then I thought, God, no, don't be upset. It's not her fault. Because white people do not know what black Africans eat. Because everything you ever see of black Africans is always horrible or derogatory. That's all they ever show you. Horrible and derogatory. When they're not showing you on the news, they're showing you things that are so bizarre, like documentaries that are so bizarre. You watch them, you're like, what the hell is this? They will show you the chief that ate another village. And they will show you this chief wearing his banana skins. And he'll be walking around, he'll be biting onto something that looks like a man's ass. And they'll be asking him questions, you like eating other men's asses? And he'll be saying, yes. But you guys have Jeremy Kyle. You have Jeremy Kyle. Those are our Jeremy Kyles, right? Can you imagine if I take Jeremy Kyle and take it to Africa and show it all over Africa time and time and time and time and time and time again over a period of 70 years, black Africans would think exactly the same of white people. They'll be walking around saying, well, white people are lucky to have more than 2 teeth. And it is exactly what they have done with Africa. And I never understood it. I realize actually the people here know everything there is to know about the animals of Africa, but you know fuck all about the African people. You even know the animals by name. Do you remember Cecil? Yeah, you guys remember Cecil? Cecil the lion. Yeah, you know them by name. Do you remember when Cecil was killed? There was outrage. People were like, oh my God, the dentist, he had to go into hiding because he feared for his life. People lost their mind. And then Cecil's dad was killed. People lost it. And then Cecil's son. People were like, oh my God. They were in complete mourning. They were like, oh my God. First of all, Cecil. And then his dad and his son. Oh my God. And we're like, guys. We are still traumatized by colonialism. They're like, shush. Can't you see? We hate money. This is how much value is placed on an African life. Right? It is incredible. You know everything there is to know about the animals of Africa, but you know fuck all. It is because of the negative portrayal of Africans. Like, what's up with the flies? Seriously, every picture, isn't it? What? Seriously. Every picture you see of an African, they've got flies all over their face. Do you know how hard it is to maintain that fly look? You literally have to smear your face with jam all day. Seriously, and you can just imagine the shooting of those commercials. Not enough flies, next. You know? Oh, these kids with their flies around their mouth. Seriously, guys, come on. And like, they're still saying things like, we are going to dig another well in Africa. And the Africans are like, Wi-Fi, please, make it Wi-Fi. I don't know what it is about a diamond-rich continent that makes white people want to come and dig wells. Incredible. It's incredible. And all of these commercials don't even make sense. There's always like a little kid who is drinking dirty water. Yeah, and they're always saying things like, this is Nkrumah. He's 2 years old. And he's drinking dirty water that's going to kill him. And I'm like, so stop him. Don't just stand there filming him. Can you imagine if I did that with a white kid? Oh my God, it's crazy. And it doesn't even make sense. It really honestly doesn't make sense. Like, there's a long-running commercial that says this: give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, feed him for life. You know that one. And I'm like, you guys need to stop teaching Africans how to fish. Most of Africa is desert. 60% desert. Now there's a lot of very frustrated African fishermen in the Sahara. It's incredible, and it's always so derogatory. There's an old rumor that said that AIDS originated in Africa after an African had sex with a gorilla. It's like, that's wrong, he was a goat. And do you know how hard it is to fuck a gorilla? Seriously, I heard that, I was really upset. It's like, oh my God, that is so horrible. And then David Cameron fucked a dead pig. I was like, thank you, Lord, thank you. So now people in Africa can walk around saying, well, swine flu originated in Britain after, It's incredible. I never understood it because that's not what Africa is like. Surprise, surprise. I never really understood why the negative portrayal of Africa time and time again. And then I came to the conclusion. It's a justification for slave trade, colonialism, and the continued exploitation of Africa. But don't you worry, because Africa has the power now. This is why Africa has its agents all over your streets called traffic wardens. That's right. Every time they slap you with that ticket, call it reparations, my friend. It is incredible. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Jamie Oliver fell out with the women of West Africa. That's right. the golden boy, Jamie Oliver, fell out with the women of West Africa because he published a recipe for jollof rice. See, just the black people are like, white people are like, what the fuck? Jollof rice is a staple of West Africa. It's like paella. And he published the recipe. Women of West Africa were outraged. They were like, you can steal our continent, Mr. Oliver, but you can't steal our rice. They lost their plot, and they were really angry. There was like, the Twitter just went crazy. And you know what? It's absolutely right. They cried appropriation. Because when you think about it, Africa loses billions in appropriation. Our diamonds appropriated. Our cocoa appropriated. Our coffee appropriated. Mo Farah appropriated. Just no end. There's no end. But you guys like Mo? Yeah. We see the Africans love Mo because like although he's doing really well, he's still communicating to us by code. He's always going like this. Yeah. He's now letting us know that he can pay for his mortgage. And I think even Usain Bolt does that. You've seen Usain Bolt, he goes like this, teaching black men how to distract the police. What it is. What it is. But it's interesting, though, that the Brexit happened. And what Brexit has done, it has made it possible for people like me to come and do the show. Because people are asking questions that perhaps were bothering them in their minds, but they never had a chance to ask. And I just felt like I have to answer these questions because people have been asking, why do immigrants come to Britain? Why do all these people feel the need to come to Britain? Why are these immigrants coming to Britain? Because Britain owned 3/4 of the world. You lot told us just how great Britain was. If you hadn't told us, I would still have been chasing an animal around Africa. And this is why it has never, ever occurred to me to go to Liechtenstein. Mainly because I didn't even know there was a country called Liechtenstein. And this is one fact that a lot of British people don't understand. And I ask many people, when I go around, I ask people, do you know that Kenya was a British colony? Sometimes people ask, what is a colony? For real. Now, I will tell you, just in case there are people who are thinking, what is a colony? I'll tell you what it is to be colonized. So Kenya, I'm from Kenya. Kenya was a British colony. And when you're colonized, it means the colonizer comes to your country, they throw you off your land, they take away everything from you that defines you as a people, your language, your culture, everything that defines you as a people, and you have to obey the rules of the colonizer. So I grew up in Kenya, and when I was growing up in Kenya, we have to have English names. Like when my sisters stand up at school, they were given Catholic names. My mom wanted to name me because she wanted to take control, and because I tell you what, my mother didn't know good English names. So she looked at that baby book called the Bible. and see, African parents are crazy. They will call their child Nebuchadnezzar. They will call their child Methuselah. But my parents were a bit more level-headed. I am Abraham. People don't understand what it means to be colonized. When I was at school, we had to go to the British Council to learn Britishness, right? I had to learn to speak English. In Kenya, if you don't speak English, people think you're thick. People think you're so thick, you're basically what you guys call Kent. And I don't do that joke in Kent, by the way. And, I know it was good for me. Well, people don't understand all of this. We have to speak English because when the British came to Kenya or when the Europeans came to Africa, we were just chiefdoms and kingdoms just around. So when they came, the British came to Kenya, they said, yo, that group over there, that group over there, that group, that group, that group, that group, all of you are now a country. We're like, what the fuck? We don't even like them. Like, come on, choose a leader amongst you. It's called democracy. Goodbye. And people look at us as though we're crazy, right? Like in a country like Nigeria, they've got 500 different tribes, 500 languages. How the hell are they going to communicate? In the Congo, 215. Kenya, we have 44 languages. But in South Africa, only 11. Can you imagine having only 11 languages? Yeah? You British people are thinking we only have one. Move on. This is what it means to be colonized. Now, I had to go to the British Council. I had to do Shakespeare. I was Desdemona in Othello. right? I was Desdemona mainly because I was the closest to white. I had to study the mayor of Casterbridge. Who here has done the mayor of Casterbridge? Yeah, just the people from Africa. They're like, where? The people from the colonies. Seriously, I asked this question. British people are like, no, we haven't. So I'm more British than you, Lord, right? It's incredible. We played British board games. We played Guess Who's Gonna Conquer Us Next? And seriously, everything about us was influenced by the British. So why wouldn't we want to come here? This is what we were taught to do, want to aspire to everything that is British. Everything. When I was at school, we had posters around my school that said, come and study in the top UK universities. And then I get here and find out University of Luton is not even a real university. It's incredible. My sex education, did you do sex education? Can you hear me? Knock, knock. I've been asking this question. I was in Ireland, and I asked this question. Did you guys do sex education? They said, no, we are Catholic. I was like, what do Catholics do? I was like, just lie there and expect a surprise. So my sex education came from British literature. I used to read a lot as a kid. But there was one thing that I liked most when I was growing up in Africa was books. People think, was it food? No, it was books. So the only books that I could get were Mills and Boon. Those are the only books I could read. So my sex education came directly from Mills and Boon, people. So I'm 15 years old, and I want to know about sex education, and it came straight out of Mills and Boon. So I'm going to read you an extract from my sex education class. That's right, you get ready. Are you ready? Yes. He gazed longingly into her sea blue eyes, her lips full and inviting. The allure of her perfume sent him wild with desire, kissing her impatiently, whispering, mon amour. They were always French. They were never from Albania. He'd never wanted anyone more like he wanted her now. His strong arms led her to the bed. Her legs buckled. He kissed every inch of her body beautifully and slowly. A moan escaped from her dry throat. She could have done with Benelin, really. She could feel his manhood. Oh, the manhood. Doesn't that get you going, ladies? She could feel his manhood between her thighs, thrusting forward, sweeping her into a sea of desire, riding the waves in perfect union into ecstasy. Spent, they lit a cigarette. So I'm 15, I'm all equipped for sex. Way. So I meet my boy, he's 15. Do you know how he wooed me? Do you wanna do it? And I remember the day we did it so clearly because he looked at me in the eye and told me we had done it. I was as shocked as you are. And that was the day that I decided to write my own teenage literature. Do you want to hear it? Yeah. Okay. He couldn't see her because the shed had no lights. He didn't want to kiss her because that might cause premature ejaculation. He struggled to tear the Nick condom between his teeth, his right hand fumbling to keep his penis erect. He thrust himself forward, knocking her off the bike shed. When she was up, he felt up her skirt looking for an opening. He thrust himself in. She said, "Not there." Barely 3/4 of a minute later, he hopped down the alleyway to get fish fingers for his tea. The ladies are like, yeah, the guys are like, move on. It's crazy. All of my literature was British, all of it, English, all of it. So I used to read Mills and Boon, and when I wasn't reading Mills and Boon, I read crime, read James Hadley Chase. You guys know James Hadley Chase? Yes. Or just the Africans, okay. We know, all the books, right? So I used to read James Hadley Chase. It was basically crime, mainly how to kill women. And here's an extract from James Hadley Chase. Now, this is the stuff I was reading at the age of 15. She crossed her legs slowly, as if in slow motion, revealing her fishnets. Now, I'm growing up in Africa. I don't know what fishnets are. I just assumed these guys were fishermen. Waking up his loins. Now, again, I didn't know what loins were. I just assumed it was lions, misspelled. She saved from her glass of water. A drop trickled down the tributary of her cleavage. How he longed to drink from her estuary. See, that bit there made sense because I had read physical geography. He walked majestically towards her, his odor light filling up the room. 2 hours later, she was dead. Murder never sounded so romantic, huh? So at the age of 15, that's the shit I used to read, man. And you know what? I actually even used to collect lists of the different types of guns that you can get. That's right. I read so many. I had lists of different guns. So at 15, I was an expert in romance, murder, ammunition. I was basically an ISIS bride right there. So people ask, why do immigrants come to Britain? The British PR is too good. Like, I was back in Africa, I was watching Pride and Prejudice, right? Colin Firth, oh my God, Colin Firth. Colin Firth, oh my God, because this is what they show around the world. These are the Englishmen that they're showing us around the world, right? Right. Colin Firth, Hugh Grant, oh my God. I will swim across that channel. And then we get here, we find Boris. Seriously. See, I don't think Boris should be a politician. He should be a film star. Yeah, you can just imagine Boris with his leading woman, Anne Widdecombe. They'll be having a romantic set. And he'll be looking to the camera and he'll be saying, "Come to Britain." We'll be headed for Liechtenstein. Right. So people don't understand what life is like for an immigrant. They don't, because people say things like, "Oh, these immigrants are coming here to steal our jobs." True. There's a job I've been trying to steal for a long time, and I want this job so badly. Every single day I just think about stealing this job. I want to steal a job from a guy called Jack Whitehall. You laugh because you're like, well, he's a white man, Njambi, you'll never get that job. And it's crazy. So people don't understand what it is like to be an immigrant. It can be very lonely, it can be very hard because you feel alienated all the time. And then there's that tiny, tiny little problem called racism. You think that racism is a thing? Question. Do you think racism... Yeah, you think racism is a thing? Well, yeah, everybody always says yes. Both white and black, I also ask this question, is racism a thing? And everybody's like, yes, it is a thing. And the thing is, like, growing up in Africa, we actually don't know about racism, other than, like, South Africa. But the rest of Africa, we don't know about racism because there's no information about what happened in Africa. Seriously, now, when I was growing up in Kenya, the only history books I read were about Napoleon. Because nothing of historical importance happened in Africa. So we don't know about racism. So the first time you encounter a racist incident is actually really shocking. So I was 19, and I was doing an internship in Soho, and my boss was very nice. He said, at the end of your internship, we're going to take you out for a meal, and we're going to go out for drinks. Very nice gesture. So we go out for the meal. We have a great time. He takes me to a posh place. It's called Grocha Club. We have a great time. We have drinks. At the end of the night, we catch a taxi. There's a few of us. We hail a black cab, and you know they were white because it stopped. And we're in the taxi. I've got 20 pounds on me, and I know that it's going to get me to West London. My stop is the furthest. So we drop everybody else. I'm left in the taxi with the taxi driver and my 20 pounds. And he does what taxi drivers do. He starts meandering. He starts meandering. He's meandering. So I'm looking at my 20 pounds, the meter, 20 pounds, the meter, 20 pounds, the meter, 20 pounds, the meter. And I say, oh, this is not going to work. So I say, sir, can you please stop me somewhere? I need to get some more cash at the cash machine. He drives to a very secluded place. He stops the car and he says, get the fuck out of my taxi. And I said, no, sir, you don't understand. Look, I've got money. I just want you to stop me at a cash machine because I want to get some more money out so that when you get me a destination, then it's not going to be any embarrassment. He said, get the fuck out of my cab. And I said, no, you don't understand. I've got the money. I just want to stop at a cash machine. Please just take me home. And he says, you need to get the fuck out of my cab. And I said, no, because I don't know where I'm going. It's 2 a.m. I'm scared. Please just take me. He gets back in the taxi, drives really fast. I'm like, that is how you should have been driving in the first place. Drives me really fast straight to the police station. So now we are at the police station. We are just walking towards the entrance as an officer is coming out, and he sees us and he says, what's the problem? The taxi driver says, she won't pay for her fare. And I said, no, that's not true, officer. Look, I've got my money. Technically, by now, I had done nothing wrong. I've got my money, see, officer. And basically, I just asked him to stop me at a cash machine because I wanted to get some more money out. He looked at the taxi driver, looked at me, looked at the taxi driver, says, do you want to press charges? And I'm like, no, please, look, I've got the money. Check the meter. I've done nothing wrong. I can actually pay for my journey up to here. And he says, you need to calm yourself down. He gets his part. He starts to book me. And now I'm sitting on the pavement. I start to cry. I'm 19. I don't know how to deal with this situation. And I'm saying, please, guys, just let me go. I've got my money. Just let me go. He says, you better stop what you're doing. So now I'm crying my eyes out. Just then, another taxi driver stops. Guy comes out. He now wants to listen to what's going on. The two are now looking quite awkward because now this is a very awkward situation. They can hear me crying. And I'm saying, please just let me go. Look at the meter. I've got 20 pounds. I'll pay my way. Please just let me go. The guy looks at me, looks at them, and then looks at me again, puts his hand in his pocket, takes out his money, puts it in the other taxi driver's hand and says, come on, love, I'm taking you home. Just like that, he restored my faith in humanity. Because in every society, you have your good, decent people, and you have your assholes. And I'm an asshole. Racism is very caustic. Racism is horrible and it's very damaging to individuals because people don't see the damage that it causes to people. I don't think people appreciate this. Again, I was working again when I was at university, and I was actually working in Holland Park. Holland Park, for anybody that doesn't know, Holland Park is very posh. It's next to Notting Hill Gate. It's where very, very wealthy people live. I was looking after a tiny little boy, gorgeous little boy, the cutest little boy. And when I was going to go, I knelt down, I gave him a hug, and I kissed him on his cheek. He stood back, he wiped his cheek. And I thought, what's that, little boy? So I'm confused by this gesture. At one point, I'm thinking, well, he's very small. I don't know what this means. And I'm thinking, no, Njambi, it can't be. He can't be racist. He knows nothing. This boy is pure. Not like in a Hitler type of way. But I'm thinking, this boy is pure in words, thought, and deeds. And then I think, oh my God, he thinks I'm going to suck the privilege out of him. And then I realized it's not possible to suck privilege out of a white man. And this thing is bothering me. And I think, he thinks that he's going to catch my blackness. Because when you catch blackness, you never recover. Do you remember Vanilla Ice? He's still plagued by blackness. So this is a situation, and it's truly interesting for me. And I'm thinking, what is up with this boy? What's going on with this boy? And I think, you know what? It's in your mind, Njambi. Move away. There's nothing here. The boy's too little. Just move away. I start to walk away. He spits on me, and he says, go back to the jungle. Okay, little shit. So I sit him down, and I say, little boy, well, I come from a place called Kenya. In Kenya, there isn't a jungle, just like there's no Santa. Right, so they're planting, and the thing is, like, all these subliminal messages mean that people are actually racist, even when they don't mean to be. People mean well, they don't mean to be racist, and sometimes things they do, things they say can come across as racist. Like I was moving house and I had my big suitcase with me. I was dragging it along. A very posh English gentleman comes over to me. He says, "Would you like a hand with your suitcase?" And I think, oh my God, I've pulled. And he helps with my suitcase and he drags it along to the station. He puts it in the train. And as the doors are about to close, I'm on the inside, he's on the outside. As the doors are closing, he says, "Where are you moving to?" And I say, "Brixton." And as the doors close, he says, "That's good, you can be amongst your kind." And then the doors close. And now me and all the other passengers, we're turning. Other people are rolling their eyes because we were all thinking the same thing, that clearly this man has not been to Brixton lately. He hasn't. But you know what, guys? Jo Cox, the slain MP, stated. She stated that we have so much in common that which divides us. And that is so true. Because, like my white friends are just as vain as my black friends. We are all exactly the same, right? They are so vain, like all my white friends. Like, when the sun comes out, they're like, "Oh my God, look at me, I'm so pasty, I want to go brown." My black friends, they don't want to stay in the sun for too long. They're like, "Oh my God, I don't want to go darker, I want to remain brown." I'm like, everybody wants to be me. You're welcome. We have so much in common, guys, so much in common. And it's fair to say that in the 20th and 21st century, we made huge technological advances. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah, so we moved from black and white pictures to color pictures. We moved from black and white TV to color TV. The only thing that's black and white is the people. Can we upgrade to color now? Yeah. Yeah. Because the thing is, like, you're neither white, I'm neither black. That is the truth. Like, these are so divisive. White people, black people. It's very, very divisive. I don't like those terms. White people. When you think about white, you think about government policies, right? White paper, government policies, top and such. When you think about black, you think about the blackboard being scribbled over by the white chalk. When you think about black, you think about the black tires bearing the weight of the white van. When you think about black, you think about a pint of Guinness with all the rich froth at the top. But nothing defines our society like the humble cappuccino. Because with the cappuccino, all the black is at the bottom. The rich white froth is at the top. Occasionally you get a few sprinkles of brown at the top. Not essential, but good for show. That is our society today. But you know what? We can celebrate our differences. That's okay, because there are differences. People always ask me, what's the difference between black people and white people? And I say, well, white people can go backpacking. There are differences, and we can celebrate these differences. Like, black people, we love to show off our shit. We do. We love to show off our shit. Like, you see all those American rappers. If an American rapper has a gold bullion, he's going to wear it round his neck. Right? He's going to wear it round his neck. You will never catch a rich white American doing the same, because it's impossible to wear a dead elephant round your neck. See, there are differences, and we can celebrate our differences. The black people, we love to show off our shit. Like 50 cents, he gets all his money on a table. He gets a picture of it, and he tweets it. You will never catch a rich British man doing the same, because it's impossible to take a picture of him and his money in Panama. It's impossible. It's crazy. People always ask me, what's the difference between black people and white people? And I say, there are differences. If a black man robs a bank, he'll take 100,000 pounds. If a white man robs a bank, he'll take the entire economy. If a black man steals, he's going to steal a car or a TV. A white man steals, he'll steal a whole continent with its people. And the white men are so slick, they will steal a whole continent with the people and convince them it's for their own good. We are here to educate you. And the natives are like, can't we do distance learning? This is crazy. It's so crazy. But you know what? It doesn't matter who you are, what you are, whether you're straight, gay, black, white, whatever. Everybody just wants equality. That's all we want, equality. There was a piece of research that came out the other day and said that 60% of all the films that were done in the last 10 years did not contain a single black person. 60% in 10 years did not contain a single black person. And the ones that did contain Morgan Freeman. And there is more of us, people. But you see, like, black people complain all the time. They do. Black people complain. They say, oh, no, like, white films always, like, portray us really badly. Like, they portray black people as slaves, or they portray black people as, I don't know, criminals, gangsters, and stuff. And I said to black people, stop complaining. Chinua Achebe once said, if you don't like the narrative, write your own. Right? And I can't wait for Africa to write her own narrative. You would see this film. I bet you would see this film. The trailer would go a little bit like this. In the 16th century, they came as explorers. In the 17th century, they came as slave traders. In the 18th century, they came back as missionaries. In the 19th century, they came back as colonizers. And now they are back as saviors on their gap year. You would see that film, wouldn't you? You would. Do you know, immigration is a good thing for the country. It really is a good thing for the country. A piece of research came out the other day, and it said that an immigrant is 3 times more likely to start his own or her own business, right? Therefore generating the economy. Another piece of research came out and said that the top 10 billionaires, 9 of the top 10 billionaires were immigrants. And when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, yeah, we are rich. Then I remembered I was still poor. And but the moral of the story is this. Next time you see an immigrant, don't shout abuse at them. Just give them a hug and steal his wallet. Well, guys, that's it. You have been so amazing. This is incredible that you all took time to come and see the show. Thank you so much, and thank you for believing in it and coming to see it. I thank you very much. Have a good night.